Let's call this guy.
What's up?
Are you asleep?
Taking a cat nap.
You're taking a nap?
Yeah. What's up, man?
I wanted to ask you one question. From all the things you've been through, everything you've learned through life, what would be one thing you'd like to tell anybody as far as like your own quote, your own advice?
I have a few quotes. For work, I tell people God favors the hardworking. But what I tell young men when I meet them is the biggest regrets I have is not doing something. I never dwell on the regrets of doing something that had a consequence to it, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what I tell all the youngsters. It's like, dude, go for it.
Right.
Like, you never know. That's basically what I tell them. Like, my biggest regrets are not doing things, not making a decision to do something.
Letting opportunities pass, not taking, opportunities, open doors, things like that. Yeah.
Cool, man.
I appreciate you, man.
Talk to you later.
All right, brother.
See
Later
ya.
on. Bye. What was I going to call about?
I sent in the wrong scope of work, the wrong work that needed to be done for the wrong property. Bro, I deal with hundreds of homes. And I thought it was a repeat from one of our biggest property management companies to do the roof. Because the same name, same first three digits of the address. And I sent it in. I'm like, oh, I didn't even walk it. And then I walked it, and all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, this is a $15,000 job. That guy that I was talking to was my installer. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
His name's Jay. Very good, solid dude. He could run $1 million company doing framing for construction.
Yeah.
He just doesn't want to do it, so he can be home every day at 5 with his family.
What do you think? When do you think you'll retire? Off topic. We'll get back to that. I'm just curious.
This is something that I've accepted about how life is, because I've seen many men retire and then die within 5 years of their retirement because they do nothing. Right. And I've also seen men who have retired and try to keep their day busy, their daily lives busy with something to do. So I'm not planning to retire ever.
Just work
and figure out how to do work very delicately. Like, if I do office work after my 60s, I'd rather just do that.
Work, longevity.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to put that number. When will you retire?
Or do you want to retire?
I don't know. I've been thinking about it, and I just I mean, I'm gonna rock it till the wheels fall off, man.
It's something that I grasp onto. Like my cousin's grandpa, he'd been working his whole life in the fields, and he retired. 18 months later, his body just gave out.
Yeah.
Just died. Right? This guy survived World War II, storming the beaches of Normandy, and working every day for his whole life, just quiet. Right? And he dies from retirement.
That's crazy.
I don't think I'm going to go that route.
Yeah. My dad retired.
Oh, what?
A long time ago. You get it? He retired and then came out of retirement really quick.
Okay.
Because he got. I think it's because he didn't. And you know what it was? I don't think it was retirement. He needed a reset.
Yeah, sure.
And
is he still doing the imports exports? I remember he said he was going to do that.
Yeah, no, that was a retirement time frame when he wanted to do the import export stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was looking into like LED businesses and things like that. But I know
that was before COVID, bro. So the
way before
shipments were fucked.
Yeah. So he kind of saved himself from that one.
Cool.
Imagine investing a lot into that, and then all of a sudden...
And then you're fucked. Yeah. Sitting on the ports for 6 months.
And you just dumped out whatever you had or whatever the case. And it's a gamble, man. What isn't a gamble nowadays, though? That's why when I asked you, I was curious if you ever saw that number. When would it be retired? I can't think. I don't know, man.
A week of me being on my deathbed.
Yeah, that's when I just call it quits. Yeah.
I get to go home.
Yeah, or, you know when doctors can call it and they tell these people like you have X amount of days to live. I think that's my retirement.
That was my dad, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He died of gangrene in 2023. how the fuck does someone die from gangrene? Pride, you know, he's like, fuck it.
Yeah.
My toes are black. I don't give a fuck. I don't need to go to the fucking hospital. And then until his body's fucked, and then the ambulance comes, and they're like, sir, we can save your leg, but the foot is gone.
Yeah.
But we need to figure out how to save your life right now. And then the doctors are like, your dad, his heart's operating at 20%.
That's a G.
So yeah, he's like, it's either you die, we try to save you, and you die on the surgery table, most likely, or you just say your goodbyes to everyone. You got 24 hours to live.
I can't imagine having to go through surgery already at that age. It's like you said, just on the surgery table. That's where.
Yeah. My dad's like, I'll die. Just let me die. Make me comfortable. I'll say goodbye to everybody. I flew in that Saturday night, so I got there 2 a.m. Sunday and said my goodbye.
Yeah.
I got to see him the next afternoon, and then Monday morning, I got a 3 a.m. text like he's gone. And I think now, like looking back, it's true what people say. Like your father's death does change you.
Yeah.
You know.
So you mentioned coming in, you came in with a nice chest, sombrero. You got the crocodile boots.
Yeah. This is how my dad dressed it, button up. Right. He dressed to the tens. You know, smelled nice, looked nice.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I'm just like I'm paying homage to my dad. Like he always wore a hat. We buried my dad wearing what he always wore.
Yeah.
That people remember. It was a white button-up shirt with his dark blue jeans and his belt buckle and his boots and his hat, white hat. That's how we buried my dad.
That's ideal though, isn't it?
And you want to go in a fucking suit that you never wore in your life?
Yeah. For what? What would you throw in your coffin or your grave? It's like I don't know. Share me your pivotal career challenge you've overcame and the lessons you've learned. Something that really stood out for you.
It was actually when I got back into construction, but on construction sales.
Okay.
Because it really taught me the lesson of like, if I fuck up, I'm paying for it, bro. My first one that I really understood was I did a half-assed job on this inspection, right? And I called for the work to be done. Customer said okay. It was like $40,000 on a job, and I was gonna make $5,000 off of it, right? Well, I didn't look under a certain area to see if something else needed to be removed. It was a 2-layer roof. Well, the labor cost is about $5,000 extra, so they took it out of my commission. I lost $5,000 for making one mistake.
Hard lessons.
Oh yeah, and I was already planning to spend it, and luckily though, I'm so good at my job. I just made up for it the next week.
Yeah,
it was a lesson well learned, and it's a lot. It sucks like in school. It's like there's no room for error, and if you make an error, like it's like we shame you, or like you get an F and you don't graduate. It's like no, here's your objective. Figure it out. Okay, you messed up. All right, do it again.
You also worked. I wanted to ask you about Bitwise.
Bitwise, that's an interesting story.
Yeah, because I remember.
What do you want to know?
Okay, well, so first of all, you asked me, hey, you want to make an app? Remember that?
I do.
You asked me about this app thing, and I don't know. I knew what you pitched as far as it was like I don't know if it was booking or if it was something with communications with the clients or something, or just a platform, whatever, for tattooing.
Yeah, so I think what I remember, or what I recall, was you being able to communicate thoroughly with your customers through pictures and drawings through an app. So you would schedule your appointments. Mm-hmm. You'd keep it, because I remember you had a hard time making sure everything was cataloged. So we'd make sure everything was, like you'd have this calendar, you'd have the drawings of what you're talking about, so that way you and your client would agree like that's the drawing, right? Mm-hmm. And if your client wanted to do something different, they could actually draw on the photo like I wanted to have this. So it was like an interaction without them actually having to be here. Right. But I think it's more pivotal for you, like old ways, they need to be here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was going to say that's like the consultation process.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but my thoughts were like, all right, them sending you a photo, and then you sending them a redraw of it or something different, and then you go back and forth, right? But you can't do that unless your entire business is already switched over to that, and yours wasn't, right? You can't just switch over You know, and it's now that I'm like later in life, I realize like there's no way you could have done that.
Yeah.
Like immediately, right? It would have taken 3 years for you to totally
System kind of thing.
Yeah. And artists still don't even do that. They don't rely on technology other than to scheduling their appointments.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a group of, back to your question though, but I did have a group of very sharp guys. And I went to their school to learn how to be a developer. Turns out I'm actually really good at directing and communicating to customers. This is actually what helped me with like realizing I just need to stick to like sales or actual human communication jobs. When I'm working with these introverted, very highly intelligent guys, right? Some of them have, their doctorates, their master's degrees, their bachelor's degrees in other fields, but they wanted to do software development.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of that took, like, they were completely introverted. They did not know how to explain to an ape like myself how something would work. And I quickly got it, like, okay, I need to take this scope of work for what needs to be done. I need to translate that to the regular person, the customer, of what's going to happen. Then I got to take the customer's or client's idea and I got to translate that to code for my developers to develop. Right? It needs to do this, and that, and we use this, and this, right? And there's big jobs for that. The problem was for me in that field was the politics.
Oh.
Yeah. So I applied for jobs through Bitwise as subsidiaries. Thank God, dude, I didn't go work for them.
Yeah.
And I was happy to see the success of my friends that were there. I was thrilled to see that I'm. Like, you'd see postings like, oh, they made 500 million, they made 350 million, they did this, and it was through Google investors, right? And then I hear all of a sudden they shut their doors.
It went quiet.
They shut their doors.
I was like, when I saw that, I was like, I wonder if Gabe still has ties to this. And
bro, I have friends I called them a week after. I'm like, I messaged them on social media. I'm like, bro, what happened? Like, bro, we were out at the job, this and that. I'm like, come look in Boise, Idaho, but they'll pay you good money if you're qualified.
For what they're doing.
But those companies want people to come. Look at Elon Musk, dude. Look at Twitter. Like, if you can't come in the office, you're fired.
Yeah.
You just, oh my God, I have to get up at 9 a.m. to get out of the office at 10 a.m. Oh, I got to be here for 8 hours a day for 5 days out of the week. This sucks.
Right.
With Bitwise, it actually turned into a Ponzi scheme. Those owners were taking money. This is what I theorized.
Yeah.
They took in all this money. They realized that they've expanded beyond their capability, and they're hemorrhaging money. Right? They're losing money. Mm-hmm. So what do? They hide some money for themselves as it's going down. Right? And then I'm hearing from my friends that their 401ks are gone. And if you really look at it for what it's worth, they were making software. They were making websites, right? I don't know the grand scope of work, but stuff like that, it's like I could understand it being as big as they wanted to get and do what they wanted to do in areas where it's prevalent, right? Like but I loved, and everybody loved what they were doing. It was like you take and build up your workforce from the immediate area that you're in. Central Valley, right? Yeah. You got a lot of immediate income areas. Let's teach these kids, teach these people how to code. Let's teach them these 6-figure jobs, and let's pay them that, right? Yeah. It's a beautiful dream.
Yeah.
But it was, like, for me, for example, it was bias. Like, once they saw I'm theorizing here, once they saw my website and I was gun toting, and I was like, hunting, and they pride themselves in replying to everyone, whether or not they're going to get the job or not. I didn't get a single fucking reply out of like 5 different jobs that I applied for.
Oh, dang.
It was there. The writing was on the wall. And thank God they did that, because I would have been in the same boat as all my friends. And I'd be like, dude, some of my friends had to move. They had to go somewhere to try to live again. These guys were painting this pretty picture of this Ponzi scheme. and they took everybody's money. You know what I mean? What it really was is they had a great idea. Yeah. They were doing really well. And like I did my research. You and I were talking about reading books. Right. I read up from this guy who's teaching how to build companies to sell them and why he had to sell them. Because if it gets to a certain point where it's too big for you, you need to subsidize. You need to bring in bigger people to take control. The owners were not letting anybody take control. And it was all in good intention, but good intention is, what's that saying? The road to hell is paved with good intention. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like they had all the good intention, bro, but it ended up being like this monster that I feel for the owners and I feel for the people that work there. Yeah. Like it just imploded. That's all it did.
When did you leave? You left?
Bro, 2000. The job I got when I was got into accounting. I was good with coding, with detail. They're like, "Wow, you've been doing this for a year." Right. I'm like, "Well, yeah. I was trying to learn another skill, but I need to work, and I don't have qualifications of showing people my coding skills."
Yeah. How do you balance professional ambitions with personal fulfillment?
I pretend that my professional vacations or aspirations are personal. Oh, that makes sense. So I haven't taken a vacation in 5, maybe 10 years. Like if I travel somewhere, it's to learn how to make more money or to figure out how to make more money, or it's a business trip. So I'm living with family now. I'm back. I'm keeping tabs on my mom because my dad just recently passed away. So it's like I told you earlier, man. Like having a father pass away does change you. It really does. I thought it was like bullshit, and I'm stronger than that. Like no, it does. Yeah. But I didn't realize it was through my internal things. It was through external. So like my mom, it's gonna be a couple of years before she's back to normal. Yeah. And someone told me, or my brother recently, was like, "How do you deal with this?" You realize like, wow, this stings, this hurts. Regardless of your interaction with your father, whether it's bad, good, medium, whatever, it'll sting. You just have to learn how to live with it. Right. You know what I mean? And it's like something that I've learned. It's like, how do I deal with heartbreak? How do I deal with this? I just have to let it sink in, and I have to live with it, learn to live with it. My mom, she's going through her process. She's been with her husband for close to 50 years. Yeah. So if I'm around and giving her shit, just jokingly or seriously, like it keeps her mind off of things. Yeah. 50 years from not being with that same person, right? And then they go before you. I reread Jordan Peterson's book, 12 Rules to Life, The Antidote to Chaos. Yeah. That book changed my life. But I also get into bibliographies that also I get to see other people's perspectives of their life and different choices that I've made. So there's a book called Scars and Stripes by Tim Kennedy, right? That guy had a very eclectic life like me. So he was a Green Beret, but he was also an MMA fighter. And now he's got his businesses with Sheepdog Response. And I like he's actually an entrepreneur, but he's not saying that he's an entrepreneur. Right. You know what I mean? He's just telling you about his change and balances of life. And I'm on the road a lot, so I say read, but I do audiobooks.
The real things that other people are facing firsthand, we just hear about them or see them in the news. If you watch it or if you read it, whatever the case, I just feel like I tell people, especially when you go in the Midwest, there's different talk than there is over here. Over there, the business talk over there, especially when you're following an oil line or whatever the case. Everybody just talks about, I could tell you oil is $72 a barrel. I could tell you all these things that everybody's and out here, it's hey, did you hear about this gun law that passed?
If I go to a gun store in Missouri, it's hilarious, or anywhere really. So I went to
Cali ID.
I can't buy a gun. Yeah. There, right? So they asked me where I'm from, and I tell them from California. And every gun store I went to, whether it's in Idaho or Missouri, they're like, "Welcome to a free state. You can buy whatever you want as long as you have the ID for this state." It's like, what? Really? It's like, dude, everybody's armed. Yeah. Crime rate is low. This is something funny that I learned while I was in St. Louis. Mm-hmm. So the downtown area makes up of 350, 500,000 people. They have the highest murder rate per capita in the United States. Right?
Wow.
They did at one point.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out, like, well, why is that happening, right? So when I was doing jiu-jitsu in the outer area where I was at, they told me, like, well, dude, it's all, like, if you're not gangbanging, if you're not doing drugs, you don't have anything to worry about. But I also read, like, some dude got gunned down for he was on his 5th liquor store gas station. And he got gunned down by some random person just buying, like, I don't know, like Red Bull or something.
Yeah.
Saw him pull a gun on the cashier, pulled his gun, didn't get prosecuted, nothing happened. He just was like, hey, dude, like,
Yeah.
that's just what happens. Everybody's armed. And what I'm seeing a lot now too is the crime is ramping up in certain areas where you got people from out of state moving to these areas, and they think, well, I can get a gun, I'll just go do this. Like, let alone every other person around you has a gun.
Right.
So it keeps everyone in check.
Yeah. CCW by any chance?
Here, no. I still have my Idaho ID. In those states, it is constitutional carry. So as long as you're over the age to buy a gun, you can carry it on you.
Interesting.
Yeah. But they do encourage CCWs. For me, like, bro, like being in security, like home security alarms, like, I'd had people tell me in Sacramento, I'd had people tell me or ask me well, pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
They're like, what if the person gets past the door and beelines it for me? What if they go towards my room and they're trying to get me? I mean, I'm not supposed to tell you, but buy a fucking gun if that's what you're worried about. We are second response, right? Someone breaks into your house with alarm on, right? Sets off the alarm. It's going to be 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, if you're lucky, buy yourself a gun. You know what I mean? Everyone was worried about that during COVID.
You know, I got a government pardon.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it works. By the way, it works. It might get revoked now, but it worked. It worked for me.
When I moved back here, dude, and then I really looked at the laws, I don't have the right to protect myself.
Yeah.
I don't have the right to protect my family.
Yeah.
I just have to take it. And, like, I get it, bro. People are upset. People are pissed. And when I go to these other states, they're like, welcome to a free state. I'm like, when I was a bail agent, I try to help this poor guy out. And that's another thing, too, I want to talk about, like, tattoos in the system. Yeah. It's a great way for the police to identify people.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
Like, bro, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
They're like, if you have tattoos, like, that's how they identify you without pulling out your ID.
Yeah.
I mean, you got pulled over. Tattoos.
Yeah.
I actually got pulled over in Sanger because I had my tattoos on my arm. And I was driving. Yeah. And they're like, oh, you fit a description. It's like,
what description?
Really? Well,
it's like description to everybody else.
Well, I was cool with the cop, and I was telling him, like, dude, I just came from here, and I was doing this. All right, I'm just driving to the store right here, right in front of us, and he pulled me over. So pulled over, pulled up. Yeah. But
that's how they. That's a way people know. I know if they're looking for somebody or like probation checks or whatever, or parole check, and they're like, yeah, he has so-and-so tattoos. Does he have a tattoo? And it's like, man, they recognize that before any other feature.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
I talked to a customer, like, were you the customer with I think it was like Tweety Bird tattoo? And I was just like, man, there's no amount of money you can pay me to put a Tweety Bird tattoo on me.
How'd you see that one? No. Imagine. Tattoos in the system.
Dude, I'm not going to get into that story. We're going to cut this conversation out.
But subscribe for $12.99 a month if you want to. That's the after show. That's the after party for Gabe Olmos.
I want you to cut this part out, so this is the story.
This will be cut.
Yeah, cut right
Hey,
here.
We just have a new subscriber. There's a subscriber.
Are you fucking kidding?
It's probably from another.
Wait, are we live?
No, we're not live.
Okay.
I'm probably looking at the other video.
All right, so
or you should get like the welcome sign to something, like Van Ness, you know? Like,
oh my god, bro!
You might as well.
All right, cut that part out.
All right, we're back.
And we're back.
I have a question about how do you manage the stress and maintain the mental resilience?
I'm a salesman by trade. And salesman, dude, is talking to people. Right? It's taking someone's worries and stress, and then I got to pile it onto me. And how do I find the solution to this problem?
Right.
But it's also like there's a lot of stress. If I keep it outside of money, this is something that I've learned with work and travels, is like it's not always about money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And for me, it's like I have to interact with other people. I have to share a story. I'm a storyteller.
Right.
Like this one story I remember, and I actually got it. I bought something. It was 1967. And this guy was on it was a C-37, whatever, those cargo planes.
Yeah.
He was about to get off the plane to Vietnam for the first time. He was 19 years old, and he was scared out of his gourd. And the guy next to him saw how scared he was. And he's like, I'm going to give you something that's going to remind you of home. And I want you to keep it around, or keep something like it around to remind yourself of home. And it was Spearmint.
A little bit of impact just kind of changed.
It shifted for him. You know what I mean? Like just something that small, and that's something like that stuck with me, because my dad was the same way. He was just like, these people. My dad at his eulogy would always hear about certain families that had a hard time, but they made it as a treat to like have me and Ed's pizza, which is pretty pricey for what it is, like compared to like national chains. But he would anonymously pay for their pizza.
Okay.
Yeah. Or buy their food.
A little something.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So
I'm trying to think what mine would be. I don't know what would remind me of this area, like, because I kind of just carry that, especially with my tattoos. Because if I were to if I were to focus on that, I'd say, hey, well, it's what I'm wearing. You know, it's, and then obviously you look at your cell phone and maybe have whatever your background is, your picture.
I have nothing on my background.
But you know what I mean, though. That could be something like some people use that as little.
But my tattoos were a reminder. Like people would ask me, and I'm like, oh, that's from OMAR. Like that's back home.
Back home.
Like that's home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what it was for me. Like these ended up, all these tattoos meant nothing. They just, I thought they looked great. It looks good on me. And I forget, like, oh, my chest is blasted with ink.
Yeah, it is.
And my back too. So I'm like, not that I got pegged. So this is
my back. My back is that's the Kempo logo.
So 2020, we were rolling jiu-jitsu,
dude, and
underground, basically.
Peak of COVID, that was our mental release of mental, and balance. Because I remember, that was cool, right? We were underground.
Yeah, bro. We had our underground fight club, basically, but it was just a train.
Yeah, I remember, dude. We were in there, and you're the biggest guy there, and I was like.
And I try to be so this is when you were talking earlier. Mm-hmm. So I got the book, and the first like 2 or 3 chapters, right, which is like white to blue, was just survive. And that changed my jiu-jitsu drastically, bro. And it changed my thought process of destroy, like wrestling, like wrestlers. I get to use it. Yeah. Like some people don't get to use it, right, because they don't have it. I always remembered from that reading, it's like survive. I'm like, well, that's like life. Yeah. Like I just need to figure
parallels.
I need to figure out how to frame survive. I need to, like, this guy is attacking here, I just need to counter survive. You know what I mean? And then once you get to a certain level where you're surviving every moment of everything, and now black belts can't even like take you out, right? It's like what's frustrating too is like they are still countering, right? So I'm a white belt, rolling with a black belt, and he's like waiting for me to attack, and we're just stand still.
What's going on? He's gonna make the first move.
Yeah. And when I move, it's not fast like I'm jabbing or boxing. It's slow. It's slow, and then we're trying to like, frame or and it's like it opened up a world to me. It's like, wow, maybe I should just think.
Are you doing anything at all with as far as fitness?
It's been dude. Look at look at me.
No, but still, you're doing what? You're doing CrossFit.
I was. So what happened to me? What happened was, so I had a bulging disc. So my first week into Sacramento, I rolled with a black belt that was very frustrated how I was with his white belts, because I too was a white belt with my lineage, which I shouldn't have been.
Right.
And he got frustrated, got me in this weird arm bar that you only use for advanced belts and snapped my bicep. And it took me a year to be 100%. And then by the time that happened, I was in Sacramento, I was in Boise, and then when I moved to St. Louis, I rolled with this other crew in St. Louis, just outside of St. Charles. It's on the other side of the Missouri River, and very cool dudes. And it was the same. Like I was not same, but I'd roll with blue belts and tap them out one after the other, boom, and I'd do very slow, very slow. And I told him like, well, I've been off and on for 15 plus years.
Yeah.
And I haven't stuck with a school long enough to be elevated.
But I've traveled and I've trained and like guests at different gyms, and it was so cool to catch something from every different gym.
Dude, and you do.
It was pretty awesome.
You grasp a lot of different styles, and it's so cool. That's the advantage of traveling too. It's like,
and competing out of different states and fighting with these other
competing.
guys.
I don't like, bro, because it's so tense. Like I did a few competitions, and every time I was done with one match, my forearms were just blown. I'm like, dude, it's just the nerves. You have
after the fights, my favorite thing though was to just sit on the sideline with the fighters, the guy you just went to war with, and just
we chop it up. Yeah, we chop it up. Yeah.
And then like share things or whatever.
I once went to a jiu-jitsu tournament, and I won the first competition. I lost the last competition due to points, but everyone thought I won. And then I thought I was done, right? It was like two matches.
Oh, no, you're up again.
Yeah. And then I was talking to the local guys there. They're the coach. I didn't know this. They were the coaches for Uriah Faber's gym. Oh. And I was just like, dude, I'm just here to have fun. Like, I'm on my way to my buddy's CrossFit competition at California. I forget what it's called, but it was in Stockton. I was like, I just stopped by. But I don't want to miss it, so I'll see you guys later. Like, dude, whoever coached you did it right. I'm like, well, dethrone. Yeah. And then just a combination of rolling with you guys you. Right. You know, it's like, no, I'm just here to have fun, to learn more about myself. Like, I was too tense at the competition. Well, it turns out I had another bout, but I just didn't want to miss my buddies competing at CrossFit. I have a bulging disc, and then I almost tore my left bicep. I felt a pop in this arm, which I tore this arm, my right arm, 3 years ago? Yeah. So I found a doctor who comes up from Mexico that does stem cell therapy.
Really?
And I'm scheduled to meet with him and treat myself next month. He has his PhD here in the United States, but he also was in, I forget which academy or which school in Mexico. So Mexico is one of the leading institutes or areas or state or countries for stem cell therapy, like in the United States.
You know they're doing that with the umbilical cords?
That's what he's doing with.
Oh, okay.
So it used to be from the aborted fetus. That's why it was such a big deal in the United States.
Yeah.
So they found out it's actually more potent, more better if you go from the umbilical cord. And I have family, friends who have taken this stem cell therapy, and they have torn meniscus, torn rotator cuffs, right, bulging disc.
Yeah.
After 1, 2, or 3 is the most treatments, it's completely done. It's healed. It's reattached, tendons, all that. I asked the doctor, right, from Mexico. I was like, hey, why? I'm curious. Why don't you practice that here in the United States? We're like, well, he's like, well, I can, but I got to be on a short list, and it takes years, and the FDA is not approving it other than a certain group. Yeah. So I looked up the certain group. It cost me $50,000 for one treatment of one area. This guy's charged like $400 per year. And he was telling me, he's like, think about it. If I'm treating back injuries, bulging disc, a lot of pain, right? Yeah. And the doctors here and pharmaceutical companies here get to dish out all this pain meds, right? Make money off of you every month. Right. Right? Why would they give that up as opposed to just treating you one time? Well, I don't know, bro, but it makes sense to me. Like, and if I go to him just a couple of times and I'm done.
Yeah, they don't want to cure you. They want to keep you in that.
Bro, yeah. You know, like when I almost.
It seems like it's like that with a lot of things.
So I was working and I felt a pop in the hyperextend my left elbow, right? And I felt a pop. I'm like, oh, there goes my left elbow. I go to the doctor. I went to the ER in downtown Fresno, and they were like, well, you don't have a fracture, and if you had a fracture, we'd perform surgery. Dang. But so far, you look fine. Go to another doctor. She's like, well, there's no tear, there's a partial tear. But hey, your high blood pressure is pretty high. Let's get you on some medication.
Yeah.
Like,
are you invested into like Bitcoin and things like that? Do you still have it?
I just use it for the dark web.
Oh,
No.
$12.99 a month. You can get the all exclusive details.
No. At one point, I purchased, what was it? It was 20 Bitcoin. So this was like 2012, 2000, somewhere up there, like 14. And I was dancing around with the idea of Silk Road. Silk Road was the original eBay of drugs, right? And I had to purchase Bitcoin to have on their wallet, on the site's wallet, to try to make some transactions.
Yeah.
And I just did it just to like toy with it.
Yeah.
And I just like, it was like $2 a coin or something. It was like something stupid.
Some low, yeah.
Yeah. And then 10 years later, it's gone up to like $40,000 a coin. God damn it!
It's again another gamble.
But that's karma. Like, I was on there just toying with this shady site, and then I left it, and it's like a reminder, like, hey, dude, like, you could have put that money somewhere else and made money over there. There's a few people, you know, that are like, just hold on to it. It's like that whole AMC. The GameStop.
Yeah, GameStop.
Right. There's still people to this day that are still holding on, and they're in the negative. It's like, dude, it was a trend.
Yeah.
People, you know what I mean? Like, it's gone. Just let it go. Tattoo plans. You and I, we're gonna figure out how to cover the rest of my body. Okay. So both legs and right arm.
What's your ideas or direction? What do you want?
I have my back tattooed up until like 4 inches above my lower back, so we need to extend that to my ass cheeks, like a traditional like Japanese suit.
I was gonna say that'd be cool.
We gotta do my right arm, and I don't want to stick to a specific style, but you do know I love like flash and old school tattoos.
Yeah, I would love to continue the traditional flash. When I was thinking about, have you ever tapped? We just hit certain thresholds with obviously certain places of the body where it's just a lot more sensitive or painful after getting just gnawed at or whatever. Yeah. But I think I was tattooing with my old coil machines, wasn't I?
Yeah. Was it louder?
It was a louder one, right?
Yeah. Okay. Like, oh yeah, this is cool. Like, I got this new. Like, so, you just switched up. I'm like, I tapped once, you tapped twice. So
yeah, I think that's real.
I do have a request though for my legs, to make there be a centerpiece on the back of my calves. So that's the focal point, not the front.
What's going to be the centers?
Whatever you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got to do something like. I would love to commemorate your dad somehow. Do you have a tattoo for him already or no?
I don't. No. So that's one thing that I didn't want to talk about.
Like you said, he went with the clothes that he wore. It would be cool to do something of tattoos. A tattoo of something he had, like the boots and a hat kind of thing, or
that'd be cool.
You know, something that represented.
Well, like I said, his tattoo that he had. So it was
or the tattoo,
demon.
Yeah, a little demon with the pamper, and then throw his boots on him or something dope. You know, that'd
be cool.
Wouldn't that be sick? Because that's more personalized for like. That's his tattoo, but then that's your like tribute to him.
That'll be like our first tattoo that actually has any meaning to it.
First tattoo that means anything.
Yeah, like,
I think that'd be cool. Let's pin that idea. I like that.
But yeah, I'm up for whatever. You know me, man. Like I'm not picky as long as it looks nice. It has like I like color. I personally am favoring their traditional tattoos with like a flash flavor. So it's like. There's these artists that I follow, and it's like the outline is like your traditional tattoos. The color, as opposed to just being like, what is it, yellow, like, red, and black, right? So they're coloring in like hula girls, right, with some crazy off like blend, color. And the hula girls with like as though they're all tatted up.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? It's cool to see like the evolution of tattooing, as far as like there's so many avenues for tattooing.
Well,
like
since you know, what'd be funny is to do. You've had these 20 careers, right? To do something for either something you've done, not commemorate like that career, but maybe where you've been, you know, like or so like do something for like your most memorable moments of travel, right? And then you could say, I got the cigar, you know, it's like the bottle of whiskey, little things that'll almost highlight.
Kind of like man's ruins, but it's just my travels.
Travels.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty dope.
That's cool.
Yeah, I like that idea.
You see how I like you taking the ideas and you just tell me?
And that's just my mind, like, just brainstorming.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Do whatever you need to do, and I'll pay the price. Well,
because you understand that if I just let this guy take the wheel and you expect the experience to kick in versus your own.
I can't tell Banksy to do something specific and him love it.
Right.
I can't tell Picasso. You have to do it this specific way and make sure it's that way. But if I tell him, like, hey, this is as long as there's a pineapple, you know, as long as there's a pirate ship, do whatever you want, bro. Yeah. And then you love it. Yeah. Not a lot of people are like that. Right. Yeah, that's a lot of trust. For me, it's like, dude, just make it as cool as you think it would look.
A lot of clients that have been returning are the regulars now. They're learning to let me take over. Yeah, I'm cool. Starting to bring a lot of people. A lot of people are coming around now, and they're saying, "Yeah, you know what? Just do your thing. This is what I want." They'll give me the general idea, and they'll say, "Do your thing."
See, that's where you want to be as an artist, bro.
Yeah, like and so that's why. Remember, I mentioned I don't really have the walk-ins now. They're just becoming custom.
Do you think that has anything to do with your social media? Like,
yeah, I think it's a tool of commercial, and it's a tool of opening their mind to imagine a small town that maybe they're used to just seeing a certain kind of tattoo, and then I'm able to, but I've seen this, and I've seen, like, open the world or the gallery.
I love artwork on people, especially if it looks good. Yeah. It's like I never let somebody in their garage touch my skin. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I was close because that's how this area is, right? It's like someone with some makeshift freaking tattoo gun.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? It's like garbage. Like, what do I need? And I'm sure you're thinking, rolling in your head, like, how many times do I have to cover that shit up? That's the thing about having my tattoos and doing what I do. I've been into close to 1,000 homes, right? In someone's home.
Yeah.
And once they took a second look at my tattoos, they realized they're not ghetto tattoos. Right. They're not backyard tattoos. This is a lot of money this guy spent on this work.
Right.
So they're like, dude, you have had to spend a lot of money on that. How much money have you spent on your tattoos? I'm like, I don't know. I lost count after like 10,000. Yeah. I tell people, I'm like, I've never let some guitar string touch my skin. You know what I mean? Like, I've only gone to professionals, and the most professional I've gone to is OMAR.
That's right.
And I think that's right.
I was like, I appreciate that. That's awesome.
So they look for you. Like, I wish I could go to this guy. You know,
when you're like,
anywhere. Yeah. So like Sacramento, Idaho, Boise, Idaho. Yeah. Because you have been international. You've been national. Mm-hmm. You've gone different places. You've gone to get little pieces of everyone from it, right? Yeah. Like Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's one thing that I think you should count your blessings on, is having that ability to go and pick a little something of everything. And what is the saying? Jack of all trades, master of none, but better. Yeah, but better than someone who just masters one.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like if you were to get into in a competition now, like, you can do old school, you can do flash, you can do realistic, you know, and it's good.
Yeah, I'm grateful. I mean? I'm grateful to have dabbled in all these different areas and categories.
Like, it's rare that you have a tattoo artist that can do everything across the board, and that has integrity. Like, I was trying to go to you as often as I could too. I told you, hey, we got to do this, and then I moved to Sacramento. Now that I'm back, and it's like, I got a feel for other places. Like, it would be nice to live in another state other than California,
right?
But I have too much family here, dude. The whole family's there. There's like 20-something people there. And I'm smiling, I'm laughing. We're all having drinks. My Tio Pepe walks across me, sees me smiling, and he turns around. He's like, "Hey, see what you would have missed?" Like, God damn it!
The little things. That's like, hey, the spearmint. You know what I mean? That little impact of
like, and dude, it's the smells. Yeah. It's the noises being back home. Like, when we started this podcast, your fire trucks, you hear the ambulance. When I was in Idaho, I smelled. It was very clear. It was like steak. It was fish, or something, something to that effect. And then when I get here, St. Louis too. Like, you did get different smells. When I get here, and I'm on a roof and I smell carne asada. I think, like, you and I, as traveling as much as we have, or I'm sure you've traveled much more than me. Like, you get to appreciate this more. Like, why wouldn't you have come back?
Right.
You know what I mean? Dude, I haven't seen your boys since they were little. How old are they now?
10 and 11.
They're teenagers now.
That's why I said, man, this last Valentine's Day, I made it a pact to like, let's show these boys like about treating the ladies that we love. You know?
That's awesome. I commend you for that, dude. Yeah. It's like,
that goes back to the whole like part of being a man and the father. Like I'm trying to tell them the same, and I want them to one day also have these memories to be like you just said, like this.
It's the little things that our fathers did for us, dude. That stick to us. You know what I mean?
That really hits heavy for me, and I'm like, that's why I kind of had to go from a whole different perspective, especially with 2 daughters. And being a girl dad is a whole different thing too.
Oh, Gabe's gonna come over to field strip his AR, bro. Like, what's up, fool?
We're just chilling, you know?
Yeah, we're just cleaning. Like cleaning my 40 cal, my 50 cal.
Yeah. I just made it a pact to have that really project that to them and show them, instill it into their minds, you know, because it's like, and then show how she should be treated.
I feel like the old ways, like I told you earlier, it's
reverting back to that.
Yeah. I don't have any children,
right?
But that's how my dad he instilled in us, bro. He instilled into us how we should be as men. I think, like I as during my travels, this is I've thought to myself like, I need to show this young man like my thoughts, because there's been 4 different times, whether I was in Sacramento, Idaho, or Missouri, and I've had these young men they're looking for guidance, bro, because they can't find it from their beta dad, which is, dude, it was so sad to me.
Yeah.
And I told him like, well, this is how my dad showed me how life is. This is what I think how we should treat each other and women. This is how I think you should lead your life. This is how I think I should lead my life. And I told him like, let's be honest. I'm going to be honest with you. Like I've had my foul ups as younger men. Like I thought one way, and I realized I'm reverting back to my roots, how I really should be, and I feel more gratification for it. Like, and I've shown 4 different young men, and now they're enormously successful than I am. Like they're making a lot more money than kids their age should be making, because they're in construction and they are in sales, and I gave them not a plan, but just a guidance. Like, hey, try this. Like everyone's telling you to go that way. Look at this way, and this is why you need to go this way. And now, dude, they're buying cars, buying houses.
Right.
They're in a serious relationship, and I'm telling them, don't do what I did. Mm-hmm. I didn't listen to my family. I didn't listen to my dad.
When did that strike? When did you shift gears of your mentality?
2020.
2020?
Yeah. Okay. Us living in California, it showed me a lot of what was going on, and it's like, okay, shit hits the fan, right? Like, what do we do? Where do we go?
Yeah.
Like, can we rely on each other? It's like not a lot of people were. People were killing each other over toilet paper.
Yeah, and water.
And bro, can you imagine water and food? You know what I mean? Like, and whose back do I have? Who has my back? Like, when you hit me up, I'm like, I got you, bro. Here's a box of this. Yeah. Here's this.
Right.
Like, what else do you need? And then when I go to these other states and I tell them these stories, I'm in. You know what I mean? They're like, all right, you're a good one. You're one of us.
Yeah.
Like,
no, but I appreciate you coming in, man.
Yeah.
We'll be seeing you more on here.
Yeah. Sure. I like your sexy podcast.
That's definitely clipping. Appreciate you, my boy. Gracias.